Today we're going to talk a little bit more about Marvel versus DC and Amalgam comics. Welcome to the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bob. This is a van video, not just a car video. Moving up in the world here. Today, this is going to be a little bit of a follow-up to the Marvel vs. DC comics and Amalgam comics video that I put up a couple days ago. And, yeah, so apparently I'm the master of really, really bad timing and expectations. Because, for those of you who saw that video, and if you haven't, you should go check it out. I'll link to it in the description, probably up here somewhere. But, yeah, so part of that conversation, now this was mainly to give some background for whenever we get around to filming another podcast, because there was a post, an idea that was floated in an article that I want to see what the other guys have to say about it. So I want to be able to point to that video and say, hey, here's the explanation for what these comics are all about and everything. So wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. However, I made some comments to the effect of, you'll never see these ever reprinted, and, you know, so on and so on. And, yeah, so earlier today would be Tuesday, the 13th of February, 2024. News broke on a number of sites today that Marvel and DC have reached an agreement to print the comics in omnibus format. So, you will see them again in print. I know I'll probably be buying them. There's two that have been listed. One is a number of earlier crossovers, and I'm going to have to look into it because all of them are #1 issues, and I've got the feeling a number of these were more than one issue. So I'm going to look into that, try to figure out if there's an issue, if there's a volume 2 coming, in other words. And then there's the other, which is the Marvel vs. DC, the main crossover from the 90s that has the main 4 issues of the series, the series about Access, and I think he had a second series. I don't actually own those comics, so I'm going to check that out. And then the Amalgam books. And some of the posts I saw on Facebook earlier, I don't know all of them by heart, and some people mentioned that a few were missing. So there might be a volume 2, or this might be a case of something silly like Marvel will make the omnibus and DC will make the absolute format, and together you'll have the whole story. I highly doubt that'll happen, but we'll see. I'm assuming they're going to be the omnibus format. Well, I mean, both companies release omnibus versions. Now, the second one that I mentioned, the Marvel vs. DC, is apparently also going to have a bunch of extra material, like concept sketches for other Amalgam characters that probably didn't make it, I'm assuming. Because they mentioned character concept sketches, so I'm assuming it's ones that didn't quite make it. But anyway, that one sounds interesting, and so there might be a volume 2. What would be really nice, this is total like fingers crossed, here's hoping kind of stuff, is that one of the two of those gets a volume 2, and included in that is the JLA versus Avengers that I mentioned, that George Perez did all the artwork for. Because I know there's a couple crossovers that are also not included in that first one. Apparently a Batman versus Hulk crossover. And if they're willing to do that, then depending on how that pans out, I suppose it stands to reason that they'd be willing to reprint some of the DC and Dark Horse crossovers, where the DC characters crossed over with the Alien and Predator comics, which, as I mentioned, are now owned by Disney, and they're having Marvel do the books, so it'd have to be DC and Marvel instead of DC and Dark Horse. Although I'd imagine the Dark Horse logo would probably still be if they reprinted the original covers. I would think that it might still be on there. I don't know exactly how that would work. We'd have to see. So, yeah, that's what I get for saying things will never happen. And me thinking, I don't literally, it was hyperbolic. It wasn't literally never. But I didn't expect 2 days later, here we go. So, I mean, it's welcome news. I want them in the oversized format because I prefer to read the books that way. And like I said, I don't have those issues as far as access. I know I don't have all of the Amalgam books as singles. I have the trade paperbacks that I think collect all of them. So I have read them. And the series is okay. You'd think it'd be this, earth-shattering awesome thing, but unfortunately it's really not. I really do wish that there'd been a little bit more cooperation afterwards, because there was definitely some character interactions that would have been nice to see, like follow-ups to it. One of the big ones being that it was very clear that Tim Drake, I believe it's Tim Drake, Robin, and Jubilee very clearly had a thing for each other. And that would have been interesting, kind of seeing if that would ever go anywhere somehow. But anyway, so I was wrong. They're going to be reprinted later this year. I believe the articles I said summer this year. I don't know if this is going to be like the George Perez JLA Avengers soft cover where they're going to sell out in 5 seconds, or if this is like a normal print run and you can actually get in. I've never really talked about this here on the channel because I haven't really talked about the omnibus editions. So it's time for a crash course on how to buy these things. Very briefly, there are sites that I'll try to link to in the description, the main one, where you can pre-order these books and you're adding to the print run. Okay, so say there's like an X-Men omnibus, and they're guesstimating they'll take pre-orders through this site for individuals, and then from retailers, and then they'll take that number, and then they will add a percent to that number, and then that will be the total print run. Okay, so instead of saying, okay, the print run is going to be 5,000, they're saying the orders are open, put one in if you want to be part of the print run, and you're, barring issues, you're guaranteed a book. Now, you're buying them like 9 months in advance most of the time, but you're getting in on the print run. And during the pandemic, a lot of people switched over to this method because people all of a sudden had all kinds of time, had free government money, so they were just buying these things up, and they were selling out the day they were releasing to the public. And that was just a total shift from like 6 months prior to that. I was buying them for cheap on Amazon, like half the cover price or less. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, hey, I need that book. It's coming out Wednesday. Oh, it came out an hour ago. It's sold out. Oh, okay. That was starting to happen. So I was sorry. I think the book's released on Tuesdays. So I was having to make sure that I could jump on to my computer on Tuesday at a certain time to get books I was wanting there for about a 2-month stretch. And then someone mentioned the other site, and I started just ordering them way in advance. And yeah, I actually got the last books that I pre-ordered that way from them like 2 months ago, maybe. Like one book was holding up like 9 other books because I tried to ship them, since I had stopped ordering, they were going to just wait till everything I had ordered was in stock and then ship it all at once. So hopefully that option will be available just in case there's a huge crush of interest on this one, which there could be, because this was, it's not anyone's top 10 list of series, but given what it will take to get these printed again, if this isn't the beginning of greater cooperation, this could be the only print run of these things. We'll have to see. So anyway, again, long story short, I was wrong. They are going to be reprinted. So yeah, if you were for some reason following me for comic book news, maybe you shouldn't. Don't go away though, stick around. We got other news. But anyway, sorry for potentially misleading anyone for a day or two there, but yeah, that's the way it's looking. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you want to know more about the omnibus stuff? I'll show you my collection sometime and talk about the ones I've had the chance to read. A lot of them are like, I'm going to read them eventually, or they cover issues that I have the singles of, and I just want them collected in one spot. Plus, it's an oversized format, so the pages are bigger, the print's bigger, images are bigger, you know. And it'll look nicer on the shelf, because you can actually display them on a shelf. So anyway, like I said, you know, the normal YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We always appreciate all of it, and appreciate you fine folks. But in the meantime, Excelsior, and whatever DC says. See you later.